Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's lovely to have your company again today, and I just love it that we've got this community where we can talk about voice and arty things. Is wonderful. So thank you so much for your comments here and elsewhere. I really appreciate them. I look at them all and I answer those that I can, so thank you for that. And before we start the video, I just want to say, in my previous video I briefly mentioned that I will be monetizing my channel sometime in the future, and I've had some questions about that. So I just want to make clear that absolutely I will never charge you for anything, okay? It's not about asking you for money at all. This will always be free, completely free for you to subscribe and participate on my channel. I promise. I will never charge you for anything. So I hope that's clear. So as promised today, I want to look at consonants and how Adam uses them to make his diction so clear. So as always, I've made a few notes here. And so when I'm looking away, that's where I'm looking, because I don't want the video to go on and on. So why are consonants so important? Well, they are part of the words, the lyrics that he's using to convey stories to us, and they're a crucial element actually, because they help us to understand how beautiful the vowel sounds can be. If either one of those things are distorted, we can't understand what he's saying. And they are tricky. They like vowel sounds. They are very tricky, and we need to learn them a little bit more as singers, because I'm sure you've heard people in your day-to-day life who do not use consonants properly, and so it sounds like they're mumbling, right? But the same is true for singers, and so we need to look at how we shape our lips and our mouth and our tongue to produce clear consonants. But they can be tricky, because there are a few that I'm sure you've come across this before as well, that accompanies spraying of some sort. So we have P and T, for example. Those ones, but in particular, does that. And of course, we don't want that. We don't want to spray our audience. We want to have beautiful consonants, but without that. And so, yeah, as with all things singing, relaxation is paramountly important. So by that I mean not just relaxing, your tongue and all of that. Your jaw needs to be relaxed as well. And it ties in with a really good question that the lovely Cameron had asked me. Now, I have answered her, but it's such a great question that I wanted to raise it here today as well. I will discuss it more in detail when we get to that part of the video series, but for now I wanted to talk about it because it kind of ties in with the consonants and stuff. So Cameron wanted to know if moving your jaw while singing affects vibrato. Now, as I said, I've responded to her elsewhere where she asked the question, but I want to say here, always relaxing your jaw is the best thing for singing. So if you move your jaw and wobble it, that is not a good thing, because it absolutely creates such tension that the sound that comes out is not right. It's often strident actually. So it's not a good idea to do that. I have seen pop singers do this, and I have a theory. I think they're doing it because they haven't learned proper techniques, and so they're trying to control their voice by wobbling their jaw. And that is a very bad thing to do, because, as I said, it makes even more tension than they may otherwise have. I mean, obviously vibrato is a wonderful thing to have in the voice. That's what makes it so beautiful. But you can't achieve it by wobbling your jaw. It doesn't work that way. Your whole body is the instrument that produces sound. The sound just comes out here, but your whole body produces sound. I think I may have alluded it to before in another video where I said, if you listen to a baby screaming, you'll see they can scream and scream. The whole street can hear them. But if you look at them, you'll see their whole body is involved in making the sound, and the sound is coming out of their mouths only, so that they are not actually losing their voice. They're not making anything tense here. It's the body that's making the sound. The same is true for birds. You hear birds really loud, don't you? But when you look, you'll see the little body is involved in making the sound, and the sound just comes out through the mouth, right? And that's the same thing for singers. So we use the body to produce the sound, and then the sound comes out through the mouth. I hope that makes sense to you. But like I said, it has something to do with consonants today, because we need a relaxed jaw to have beautiful consonants, consonants that are clear, so that the vowel sounds can carry the tune, if you see what I mean. I have seen Adam occasionally, very occasionally, wobble his chin. Now, I don't know whether it is because he's tired, that could be it, or perhaps he's experimenting, because singers experiment all the time. We have to, in order to evolve as singers. So that might be that. So I hope that answers that question. So let's take a look at the different types of consonants that we get. The basic ones. So we have tip consonants, soft palate consonants, lip consonants, and combination consonants. So you know all of these anyway, but I'll go through them quickly. So tip consonants are D, T, L, N, S, and Z, or Z. And of course there's a few more, but we make the tip consonants mostly with the tip of our tongue against the alveolar ridge behind our front teeth. So you could feel this ridge. So if you put your tongue behind your top teeth and you move your tongue into your mouth, you'll feel there's like a hard bit, and then there's a ridge before the mouth kind of goes up. Can you feel it? That's your alveolar ridge, and that's where we make these consonants mostly. TH is a slightly different one. It's also a tip consonant, but it's the only one where we shape it with our tongue touching the upper front teeth. And then of course S, D, and T can be tricky too, because we use them, we make them slightly differently when we use a different language, for example, like Italian or Spanish or French. And R is another one that's a little bit more difficult, and we use our tongue a slightly different way to produce that sound. But as I said before, the tip of the tongue goes back to its resting position behind the front bottom teeth after each time that you've used it to make a consonant or a vowel. So, of course, there are practices, exercises that you can do to get these techniques right and to make your consonants clear. But like I said, this is not a singing lesson, so I'm not going to go into that here. But yeah, there are specific exercises for this. But so you can imagine how busy your tongue is between making all the different vowels and then all the different consonants and going back to its place. Yeah. So next, let's look at the soft palate consonants. And again, you know what they are. K, K, G, G, usually, or G, like in sing, and yeah, like in yes. So we make these right at the back of our mouths. So the tip of the tongue continues to touch the front bottom teeth, as mentioned in the video on the vowels, but the back of the tongue raises up. It rises to meet your soft palate. And for singers, this is a really tricky one, because not only do you have to do that, but you want to keep the space at the back of your throat open so that the sound can come through. So it takes a little bit of practice to do that. And then we have the lip consonants, P, B, M, W, F, and V, which we make with our lips closed, but the teeth is open. Okay, so you can try them for yourself. P, T, P, B. Can you see your teeth are open? And but for these, of course, the tongue also remains steady and the tip is touching the bottom front teeth. And then we come to the combination consonants, which are sh, j, j, and ch. And these consonants are all voiced consonants, meaning that you're making sound on the consonant. So for example, if you're singing to, T-O, then the T is unvoiced and you only make sound when you get to the O. So two. See what I meant? The spraying happened. But can you see how fiddly consonants can be? It is quite interesting, yeah. So you have to be very careful that you don't join your words together as well when you do consonants, okay? So for example, if you sing a word ending in D, and ED is also pronounced as D in singing, okay? So if you end a word in D and start the next word is a Y, for example, so could you, it could easily become could you if you don't pronounce the consonant correctly. Or don't you could become don't you. And I'm sure you've heard that. I'm sure you've heard that before, because I hear pop singers do that all the time, and it always makes me giggle, no matter how serious the song is. It's sad, isn't it, really? But anyway, there you go. So as I said in my last video, I'm going to use Adam's version of the Cher song Believe Again. So I will put the link down below again, so that you can clearly see how he uses the consonants and the vowels together to create such clear diction. So at the start of this song, right at the beginning, you can actually hear how gently and yet how clearly Adam starts the song. And there's no confusion about what he's saying. He says, no matter how hard I try. So I hope you have a better sense of how quickly his tongue has to move through even just those few words, and even though the song is quite slow. And then you can clearly hear a little further on, he say keep and can't, which follows each other in consecutive sentences, and which means he has to make the K and the K sound for can't on his soft palate, which means it's at the back of his mouth, while the E sound of keep, E, the vowel sound is in the front, and also the sound of can't, ah, the ah sound is in the front of the mouth. So can you see how involved singing clear consonants and vowels is? I mean, it takes some doing, right? And also, please notice how beautifully Adam finishes the word love. He doesn't just let the V consonant hang in the air, he actually finishes it. And one other thing to notice about Adam using consonants is that he drops some, I say drop in converted commas, because he does it to make the sound more contemporary, the song more contemporary, but he still pronounces it. It's just in a very gentle way. It's quite wonderful what he's doing. So please try and listen to that. And so if you listen to the song, try to see if you can figure out how quickly he's using his tongue to make all of those different sounds. And on top of it, to make it sound natural, and he's singing legato, and he's pulling you emotionally in and telling you a compelling story. It's no wonder that Cher cried. So in my next video, I'll talk more about interpretation. How do you interpret a song so that it becomes mesmerizing to the audience, and that you hold their attention as you draw them into the story that you're creating for them? So until next time, mwah.